Bon qui, je m'appelle Big T, sir. La Cultaholic YouTube channel. We are speaking French once again because once again WWE were in Montreal, and because we're in Montreal, everyone spoke the French. Vive la France! But yes, welcome to all the WTF moments from the SmackDown Live, half of the 2019 Superstar Shakeup, and yes, things were certainly shaken up, alright on the shaft. We saw the single biggest acquisition in SmackDown Live history. We saw the Raw Women's Division murdered right between the eyes with a really long knife, and finally we saw an OAP dropped and then cradled in the arms of a muscular hairy man. Made a grave mistake, Corey. So according to Corey Graves, because Kofi Kingston is now the WWE Champion, he's the target of everybody on SmackDown Live. A good point well made, I thought. That's until, of course, Corey Graves took all of his thoughts he just said there, put them in a car, and drove them off the edge of a massive cliff. Yes, cliff, not cliff, when he claimed that Xavier Woods is one of the people who wants to take the WWE Championship from him. I cannot believe he said this, everybody, because Xavier Woods wanted to win the WWE Championship for Kofi Kingston and helped Kofi Kingston do it by winning that tag team gauntlet match on the SmackDown Live just before WrestleMania 35. And not only that, Corey, but he looked like that on the night when Kofi actually won the bloody thing. Those there, Corey, are tears of joy. It's still real to Xavier, damn it, and it should be, because on reflection, New Day are one of the most important factions in recent WWE history out there. Fight me if you disagree. Tu est un bad homme. Kevin Owens, that was French because Montreal. You sat there on last night's SmackDown Live and claimed that Kofi Kingston had to earn his first WWE Championship singles match in 11 years. But on the night he did actually earn it, Vince McMahon, if you remember, gave him the night off and made Xavier and Big E do all the heavy lifting. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Kofi Kingston here. Just look at the emotion on my face with a can of dark fruits in my hand when Kofi won the WWE Championship on the grandest stage of them all. Point. But I'm just saying, you know. So for Big O, as he called himself, to be in the New Day, Xavier and Kofi started listing off a list of things he has to do, because it's more than just being in a tag team. It's a lifestyle or something. He needs to wear a crop top. He needs to sweat like Shane McMahon, who of course is the best professional sweater in the world today. He needs to have the raw, sexual magnetism of a stallion like Big E, and there also has to be a lot of cereal testing, to which Kevin Owens replies, that's alright, because he's Geordie now. I love cereal, me. No, you do not, sir. Go all the way back to Money in the Bank 2018 and you will see Big O trying to recruit your boys in the New Day to take out Braun Strowman. He brings them a massive bag of pancakes and some syrup to sweeten the deal. But when Xavier Woods offers Big O the chance to eat some pancakes with the New Day at Money in the Bank 2018, Kevin Owens says no, because he doesn't like pancakes and he doesn't like breakfast foods. Cereal is a breakfast food. And the fact that I knew that happened without having to research it proves I will die alone. Do you remember back in the day when Mae Young used to thrust herself at people because she was a dirty, horny old lady with a pleasuring device stuck up her lady garden that she gave birth to later on? I don't know about you, but that was going through my mind when Big O was thrusting his pop-up power dick towards Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. And never ever in 2019 would I expect Big O to be called Big O in the first place and to be channeling his inner Mae Young in 2019. What a sight it was to behold. Foreigners! Boo the dirty foreigners, because they look and sound different like us Americans do. Boo them. Let's stick them in their own locker room because they are from parts of the world that are better than America, and we don't like that because we're American. We think America is the best, but it's actually not. Hello, WWE. The 1980s were like their horribly outdated pro wrestling tropes back, please. Remember a few minutes ago when I was talking about Big O, what he used to be called Kevin Owens way back in the day, not liking pancakes and not liking breakfast food? Well, look at him there. Balls deep he is in pancakes. Balls deep in some cooked pancake batter. He stood there with his legs apart, deep in his balls in some juicy pancake batter. And who would have thought it with that sight there? Back in the day when Kevin Owens used to be a heel, he used to pretend he didn't like breakfast food. It sounds stupid, but it makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? It continues, everybody. First it was Kurt Angle, then the Hardy Boys, then Ronald Mysterious, and now Lars Sullivan has gone after Road Dogg's former tag team partner and former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, R-Truth, who is exactly on the same level as Kurt Angle and the Hardy Boys in Rey Mysterious. Really? Lars Sullivan's massive stiffy for Mr. Cock himself, Randy Orton, continues. We are edging closer and closer and closer to a new legend killer.
Say nothing you can say. Nothing's gonna change what you've done to me.
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
So Lars Sullivan seems to think that Carmella is Lady Bálor or something. Check out those horrible forum posts he allegedly used to do if you don't know what that reference meant. But back to the matter in hand, while Carmella is moving, sliding herself under the bottom rope out of the ring, Corey Graves claimed that she is paralysed with fear, proving that he has no idea what paralysed means.
Yep, I wrong. Yep, I wrong.
He did it again, everybody, for the second week in a row, despite the fact he should be frothing at the willy to commentate on the supposed hottest free agent in wrestling history, Lars Sullivan's matches. Byron Saxton claims he doesn't want to see Lars on SmackDown Live because he's big and he's ugly. But in the same breath, Byron Saxton, I cannot believe a WWE employee would do this live on a WWE show. He proved he does not browse WWE.com. I mean, who doesn't browse WWE.com? It's the best website after Cultaholic.com in the world today. But on a WWE.com list published after this week's Raw showing all the superstars drafted to Raw, Lars Sullivan was on there, which is confusing because why is he on SmackDown and then also listed as a SmackDown superstar in a list published after this week's SmackDown? He's on both at the minute at the time of recording, but still, if Byron had checked the first one, published after Raw, he wouldn't have said that, and he wouldn't be worried. And I don't want Byron to be worried, because he's just so precious, isn't he? Didn't she die? But there is another WTF moment at hand here, apart from Ember Moon actually appearing on a WWE show. The shocking horror of an employee of WWE appearing on one of their shows. But War Raiders had to rename themselves the Viking Experience, but Tom Phillips can still call Ember Moon the War Goddess. War and war, but what's the difference? Now I know the difference is two massive sweaty men making an arena full of fans chant war, 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 and a person who doesn't understand what that means thinks, oh, wrestling fans want war. But still, war and war. I mean, couldn't they have just stopped that chant and just kept the name the same? Called them the Raw Raiders? I don't know. Maybe we should change Ember Moon's name to the Interchangeable Eyes Experience or the Twilight Knockoff Experience. Why was Bayley getting booed like she was during last night's SmackDown Live? It appears that Montreal just hates Bayley, and I'd like to know why. Go to the comments below and tell me. I mean, I'm stood here trying to think of a reason, and the only thing I can think of is that Bayley screwed Brett, but back in 1997, she was a very small woman. So it would have been hard for her because he was a big man. And speaking of Bayley, she tweeted yesterday in the hours before this week's SmackDown Live, the goal of striving to be the best tag team in the division has not changed. But then she rocked up to this week's SmackDown Live and said, hello everybody, I don't hug people anymore, I'm not a creep, I'm a singles competitor. What changed in the space of a few hours? Hey, you are a liar! That's how the chant goes, isn't it? But also, is Sasha Banks okay? So it's actually Mandy who's in the box in the Hawaiian shirt laughing her arse off. Either that, or on last night's SmackDown Live, she proved that she killed the thing in the box in the Hawaiian shirt laughing its arse off. A really recognisable, well-known NXT talent keeping their name, keeping their gimmick, keeping their music, and it being received with a massive poppington from the crowd inside the arena who didn't have a horrible surprise, dropped on their sorry arses like we did with the Viking Experience. Who would have thought that would work, WWE? What an experience it was to see Kairi Sane debut and then wrestle on this week's SmackDown Live. It was a pirate experience. Ooh-ar. And if your skeptical mind was sat there watching last night's SmackDown Live thinking, how? Why is Kairi Sane and Asuka in a tag team together with Paige as their manager and mouthpiece seemingly? It's because they're all former NXT Women's Champions and not because two of them are Japanese.
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
Was anybody else feeling a bit awkward, turtle, shaky palm tree when Corey Graves of all people was talking about a former girlfriend ringing you just to let you know how happy she was? Because I was, because everything, and I mean everything on the internet is true.
Yep, I wrong. Yep, I wrong.
So while Kofi Kingston was doing many Kofi Kingston things in a nice Kofi Kingston row, Byron Saxton was talking about a newfound confidence Kofi apparently has since winning the WWE Championship. But I'm wondering where the hell Byron Saxton plucked that from. Probably his ass, considering we were watching Kofi Kingston do many Kofi Kingston things in a row that we've seen bare times before.
Made a grave mistake, Corey.
Cesaro does the swing, Cesaro sets up for the sharpshooter, and Corey Graves says it ends now. Because that's happened loads of times before, Corey. I mean, if you go through all of the archives of all of Cesaro's WWE matches, I bet it's happened once, maybe twice, at an absolute push. 3 times, but him doing the swing, then the sharpshooter, it's not exactly nailing a sweet end of days, is it, Corey Graves? That's so devastating it never gets kicked out of. We're not going to mention the Bane Spirit Animal's really weird sell of Kevin Owens Stunner. Piss, we just did. And I'm sorry to break this news to you, everybody, but Colonel McSweatybollocks himself has broken Greg Hamilton 2 times on last night's SmackDown Live, the best ring announcer in the world, called Big O, Kevin Owens, either side of that tag team match on last night's show. Is this making sense? I don't know. But poor old Greg, it's clear that one thing has happened here. While Colonel McSweatybollocks has been bullying that poor bastard, sweat has trickled off the best forehead in the world into Greg's mouth and caused a malfunction. So if Vince McMahon, the owner of WWE, claims he's going to reveal the biggest acquisition in SmackDown Live history, and if he goes out there and says, here is the biggest acquisition in SmackDown Live history, and presents Elias, but then Roman Reigns comes out and goes, it's my odd now, I'm on SmackDown. Who signed Roman Reigns to be the biggest acquisition in SmackDown Live history? This segment confused the piss out of me. But speaking of the big dog, it was a sobering reveal on last night's SmackDown Live, because I realised that in moving to SmackDown Live, Michael Cole lost his only redeeming quality ever. Him screaming, the big dog is the only good thing he does ever. And now that Roman's on SmackDown and he's on Raw, that cannot happen. So now we're in for 3 full hours of absolute abject misery instead of 2 hours 59 minutes and about 58 seconds. Those 2 seconds were so glorious, man, they're gone. And we end with the shakeups that weren't good enough for TV. If you didn't know, Liv Morgan, Chad Gable, Mickie James and Apollo Crews all moved to SmackDown Live, but of course you knew that, because everyone reads WWE.com, don't they? The second best website in the world, behind Cultaholic.com, but it was bittersweet for me. Now I don't care about Apollo. Mickie James being added to the SmackDown Live Women's division is a great addition to an already strong division. That made sense, but as for Liv Morgan, her being on her own means the Riot Squad are no more, and I don't like that one bit, but at least Chad Gable's on his own, he can flourish like Kurt Angle did in 2001, being a goofy man who can also wrestle his arse off and make you crap yourself in the ring, and that tag team with Bobby Roode's over. Bittersweet. Bye. Thanks for watching. Let us know what you think in the comments below. You can follow us on Twitter at Cultaholic. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Cultaholic. And if you enjoy what we do here at Cultaholic, you can pledge to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Cultaholic. Hit subscribe and join us.